The truth didn't arrive slowly. It exploded into Daniel's life at 2:11 a.m. with a single notification that shattered everything he thought he knew about himself. The DNA results were supposed to be boring, predictable, just confirmation of the identity he had always carried without question. Instead, the screen revealed something impossible, nearly 40% Spanish ancestry. His heart pounded as he stared at the percentage, convinced there had to be an error. No one in his family had ever mentioned Spanish roots. There were no stories of European ancestors, no traditions passed down that hinted at anything beyond Filipino heritage. Yet the algorithm showed a timeline stretching back more than 3 centuries, aligning with one undeniable historical fact. Spain ruled the Philippines for 333 years. Suddenly, history wasn't distant or academic anymore. It was personal. It was inside him. And the deeper he scrolled, the more unsettling the story became. The platform suggested connections to Spanish lineages linked to colonial administration, a detail that felt less like discovery and more like a warning. Because if the results were true, then his ancestry was tied not only to history, but to one of the most complicated chapters in his country's past. At first, he tried to dismiss it. DNA tests weren't perfect, he told himself, but curiosity is stronger than denial. He began researching colonial history late into the night, reading about Spanish galleons crossing oceans, missionaries reshaping culture, revolutions born from resistance, and families created at the intersection of power and survival. The more he read, the more the results started making sense in ways he didn't want them to. Then he noticed something else, a DNA match waiting in his inbox. A woman in Spain had sent a cautious message asking if their families might be connected. Her name was Lucia, and according to her profile, she was a historian. The coincidence felt too precise to ignore. When he opened her message, a realization settled into his chest. History wasn't just revealing itself, it was reaching out to him directly. Before responding, he visited his grandmother, the quiet keeper of family memories. Her reaction told him everything words couldn't. She didn't deny the possibility. Instead, she grew silent, her eyes lingering on an old photograph hanging on the wall, a man with lighter features who had always been described vaguely as just an ancestor. She admitted that older generations avoided discussing certain parts of their history because colonial ties carried emotional weight. Some families benefited from proximity to power. Others suffered because of it. Silence became a way to move forward without reopening wounds. Her warning echoed in his mind. Searching too deeply might change how he saw himself forever. Still, he replied to Lucia. Within hours, she shared scanned pages from a journal passed down through her family, writings from a Spanish officer stationed in the Philippines during the late 1700s. As Daniel read, the past came alive with vivid detail. Tropical heat, bustling markets, festivals blending Catholic rituals with indigenous traditions, and a man caught between loyalty to Spain and an unexpected emotional bond with the land and people around him. The officer described loneliness, admiration, and conflict, revealing a human complexity rarely shown in official history books. One entry hinted at a secret relationship that could have scandalized colonial authorities. Another mentioned a child born during a time of rising tension. Daniel felt chills as he realized the implications. Could this child be the beginning of his family line? Their collaboration deepened as they compared documents and timelines. Lucia's family believed the officer had disappeared after betraying his duty to Spain. Local oral stories suggested something different, that he refused to carry out harmful orders during a period of unrest, and chose to remain among local communities instead. The duality forced Daniel to confront uncomfortable questions about history and morality. Was this man a traitor, a hero, or simply someone navigating impossible choices? Visiting archives, Daniel discovered records confirming disciplinary action against a Spanish administrator whose file ended abruptly with the word missing. The moment felt surreal, like watching fragments of a forgotten life slowly reassemble across centuries. As weeks passed, the investigation transformed Daniel's understanding of identity. He spoke with historians who explained how colonial legacies shaped surnames, language, and culture in ways many people never fully realize. He listened to elders share stories about foreign ancestors who became part of local communities, blending into Filipino identity over generations. The narrative shifted from guilt or pride into something more complex, a story about human decisions shaped by historical circumstances. Lucia eventually traveled to the Philippines, and together they walked through old districts imagining the paths their shared ancestor might have taken. Standing in centuries-old churches and coastal villages, they felt history as something alive, woven into architecture and memory. The deeper Daniel went, the more he realized the DNA test wasn't just revealing ancestry, it was challenging assumptions about identity itself. History wasn't divided into clear categories of colonizer and colonized. It was filled with individuals navigating moral gray areas, forming relationships that blurred boundaries between cultures. The officers' journals described a man transformed by experience, someone who arrived as a representative of empire, but may have chosen humanity over authority. Whether or not every detail could be proven, the emotional truth felt undeniable. Sharing his journey online brought an unexpected response. Messages poured in from viewers who had discovered hidden ancestry through DNA testing, people reconnecting with lost histories and redefining their sense of belonging. His grandmother slowly embraced the discoveries, admitting relief that the story could finally be told openly instead of hidden behind silence. For Daniel, the journey shifted from solving a mystery to understanding a legacy, recognizing that identity isn't a fixed label, but a story constantly evolving across generations. As he edited the documentary capturing his experience, he returned to the moment everything changed, the email at 2:11 a.m. What began as a simple test became a bridge connecting continents, histories, and families separated by time. Spain's 333-year rule over the Philippines wasn't just a historical fact anymore. It was a living legacy woven into countless lives, including his own. And he understood something he hadn't realized at the beginning. The DNA test didn't change who he was. It changed how he understood the journey that brought him here. If this is your first time watching stories like this, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next journey into history, mystery, and the hidden truths waiting to be uncovered.